Okay, so welcome back to the show. This stays the AM Club right here on MX24. Time for us to get into Lifestyle Daily. And today the discussion is all about healthy eating. How to eat healthy and the unhealthy one. And no. That side. Because me, I'm a victim. I'm a victim. So today, not only am I here to pose questions to our resource persons, but I'm here to learn as well. So I believe that you out there will take a cue from it too as well. So it's understanding healthy and unhealthy eating habits for today. Now joining us for the conversation will be Dr. Evelyn Roberts. She's a lecturer and she's a licensed clinical psychologist. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
I almost asked why are you in black, but I'll keep it that way. Anyways, welcome to the show. And then later on, I would have Na Lamile, who happens to be a dietitian too as well, joining us via Zoom. So whilst we get her on, we'll start off with Doc. So Doc, this topic is quite crucial because then again, a lot of people would say that, oh, I eat healthy, but I really don't see myself growing. And they'll come back and then realize that, oh, well, it's not much more of a balanced diet that you are getting because of maybe work or other factors here and there. But can you please kindly differentiate if there is any difference between eating disorders and also having a disordered eating habit? Is there a difference in there? If there is, please kindly clarify for us.
So when it comes to eating disorders from a psychological perspective, basically we have eating-related problems that are also psychological.
Okay.
But then it also has some medical-related conditions that are also associated with that eating habit. And so then at that level, it becomes an eating disorder from a psychological perspective. However, I think, like you were talking about at the beginning, because of how life tends to be, we tend to not eat the way that we should eat. And so then that becomes something a little bit different than an actual eating disorder.
Okay, so then someone may ask, when we talk about eating disorders, what are we talking about in the first place from a psychological point of view?
Okay, so from a psychological point of view, we have a few eating disorders. One is anorexia. I think that might be something that's a little bit more popular, and there have been movies made about it too as well. So with anorexia, that is when basically I would say you are starving yourself because of an unrealistic body image perspective that one person might have about themselves. So they really look skinny, but for them, they still have a distorted view or image about how they actually look. And so because of that, they really starve themselves. And then we have bulimia, which is actually something that someone who is actually normal size or even obese may have, but then you may not know just from looking at them. And so for them too, there's also a disorder in their eating habits where they also starve themselves. But then for them, they may also indulge in binge eating and then what we call compensatory behavior. So you binge eat, that is eating a large amounts of food, so like you're extremely full in a very short amount of time. And then after that, maybe you take a laxative to bring it all out, or you actually try and make yourself throw up to bring it out. And so that's what bulimia nervosa is about. And then we also have binge eating disorders, where that one is just about just eating that large amounts of food, where in a very short amount of time where you are really full. But that one does not involve any compensatory behaviors where you're trying to throw up or have any take any laxative to bring it out. We also have pica, which is when you are eating non-nutritional substances, so maybe clay, paper, paint. We have that too as well. And then we also have rumination eating disorders, where you eat and then you bring it back out, and then you can spit it out or you eat it back up again. And so we also have avoidant or restrictive food intake, where you're also really not eating certain foods, but at the end of the day, you are malnourished as a result. So these are some of the different types of food disorders that we have.
I am quite a bit with that of the ruminant one, the one that looks like, yeah, of course. I mean, you cannot be like a cow. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And the chalk and the paint, that I've heard a lot, because, okay, even with pregnant women, you realize that, what do they call it? Is it chile or whatever it is? Yeah. And how effective is that?
So with the shrimp, that one is, because in our culture it's almost accepted, we will not say that is actually a food.
Okay.
Yeah, so some of these things that are also cultural specific will not be classified as pica, which is the eating of non-nutritious substances. Yes, but as to how healthy it is, I'll leave the nutritionist to talk about that.
So even just staying on that, so because we've accepted it society-wise, culture-wise, so I don't think, would it be prudent for it to just be accepted? Because someone might say, okay, I have this, and this is what I'm craving for, whether you like it or not. And even if you bring me, let's say, fruits, I don't want it. This is what I want. Is that not psychological in a way?
Yeah, so when we are looking at the whole concept of a disorder, and one of the things that we really take into perspective is the culture and the cultural acceptance of it, and what makes it normal in the culture. So then, because the culture accepts it, it doesn't become abnormal.
Okay.
Then we also look at, okay, is it going to harm you physically? So then, if it's going to be something that has some physical consequences, then even though a culture accepts it, we have to look at the fact that, well, it may not necessarily be also helpful for you too as well. So these are some of the things that are taken into consideration when looking at the whole idea of, is this normal or not normal?
And what are some of the factors that pulls in as a catalyst for people to get into that space? What would push someone to the extent of seeing a paint and want to eat it up?
Sometimes it's about some of the life events that will happen for the person. So we know that sometimes for pica, it could be maybe a certain trauma that has happened. It could also be a way of dealing with some anxiety, which is not necessarily healthy. And so that is why we may have someone like that go through, therapy, so that they can deal with the actual problem, which is being manifested, but in a way that is not necessarily healthy. And so you have anxiety, you have some trauma, you have some obsessive compulsive issues, and that's not being dealt with. But then you are really compensating for that by, maybe eating something non-nutritious, and you find some comfort in that. But then you should really find comfort in something that is better than maybe eating paint. And so that's...
Wow. Yeah. Interesting. I mean, I hope we're already getting or taking a cue from that, because this is somebody say, oh, this is abnormal for me. I mean, seeing someone eating chalk and paint, but there were some people when back in school, I mean, the blackboard chalk, they used to eat it. So that's pica.
Yes, that will be.
I'm learning today, and I hope you're learning too as well. But away from that, how early can one detect or diagnose an eating disorder?
Okay. So actually, some of these eating disorders used to be classified under childhood disorders. So pica, for example, some of these rumination disorders, they used to be classified under childhood disorders, but then we have an updated manual for for diagnosing, and so that has changed, because we are seeing that doesn't always start in childhood. Sometimes some of these disorders start in the teen years and adolescence, and so it starts from adolescence, and then it can even go up to someone who is in a geriatric population. So, yeah.
You spoke about being obese. Is it possible for someone like me, how slim I am, is it possible for me to be slim but still have that obese in me or something of that sort? Is that possible? Is it only fat people who are obese?
When you're looking at, I think when you're looking at obesity, we are really looking at, I think BMI, your body mass index, also is something that is used to measure the technical obesity that we really look at. So, yeah.
Okay, interesting. And now let's get to the body image, which I'm very, very much, how would I even put it? Because I met a model some time back, and I realized she's definitely slim. Physically, you see her slim and all that, but the slimness was just getting worse and worse. So then I asked, what exactly is happening? I mean, is it that is it because of your profession, or are you still getting into that? Let's get into the role that body image may be playing as far as, eating disorders are concerned. What role does body image play here?
Yeah, I think it plays a significant role, especially for those who have anorexia, because for them, they really look at themselves and they don't like what they see. They wish that they were slimmer. And so then all the activities are directed towards making sure that they lose weight. But then it becomes a disorder when how they're doing it, it's really affecting their lives. And people can die and do die and have died from having anorexia because of just how, I mean, like you're saying, the person can really lose weight, but then they don't see it. They don't see the results. So it's that distorted body image that also accompanies that food eating disorder that makes, it really problematic.
But another person would also say that, well, maybe because of my job, or my job requires me to do certain things like this. And maybe on the female side too as well, my husband wants me to be this way. My husband wants me to be that way. My wife says I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. All these things play a major role, right? Correctly. So how best, or what would be the best advice from a psychologist like you on things like this? How should we go about it? Because it becomes a canker. At the end of the day, it's like, okay, this person says I should do this. And because we know it's either we're attached emotionally or probably even financially or whatever attachment it is, we cannot break out of it at the end of the day. And it becomes a problem to our health. So what's the best advice you could give here?
Yeah, so I think the motivation is really important. So really looking at, okay, is there some sort of, like in terms of your goal to lose weight, is it because you want to be healthy? And are you planning to do it in a healthy way? Or is it because of a distorted body image, for example? Or is it because maybe you are in a relationship, and it could be even abusive, where the person is saying, you don't look good enough, and you need to lose weight. And so some of these things are also important. I used to do an internship where as part of the bariatric team, like basically someone going for surgery, literally surgery, to make their stomach smaller. And so they had to do psychological testing because we needed to know, are you doing this for the right reasons? Are you doing this because you actually need to have this done because you've tried other ways and it's not working, and this is a health journey, as opposed to maybe this is as a side effect of a trauma, of an obsessive compulsive disorder that you may have, or any sort of anxiety that the individual may have. So that's basically really something that's important. The motivation is really important.
Okay, and talk to us about therapy here. Are there any specific types of therapies that people should be able to go through when it comes to an issue like this?
Yeah, so cognitive behavioral therapy has been known to work, and so that's just one of a lot of different modalities that are available in terms of counseling. And then also depend, and if the individual is especially young, so we have like a teenager and adolescent, family members need to be involved in the therapy process so they understand the why, so that if there's anything maybe from the family perspective that is also influencing the child to want to, basically engage in, losing weight, but in an unhealthy manner, that could also be resolved. So you can even imagine, I think the Olympics has been a big thing, but you can imagine maybe coming from a family of swimmers, everyone is like really lean, and then you have lean, and then you have this child in maybe a little bit, has a little bit of weight on them, and then they may feel like, wow, I need to do something about this. And so then, or maybe even the family members might be laughing and joking, but they don't know really how that is really impacting them. And so sometimes you have to have family involved in the process too as well. So the therapy, the family, even like you need to have medical doctors also involved, and then also nutritionists also involved in the process when it comes to getting someone out of that.
Okay. All right. So joining us also for the conversation is Na Lamile. She's a dietitian. Good morning, Na. How you doing? Oh, okay. All right. So we're still trying to get her on so we could have a conversation. Hello. Good morning, Na.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning? And thanks so much for joining us on the AM Club.
I'm good.
Okay.
Hope you're also good as well.
Yes, I'm also good, though. It's just that I want to know what constitutes a balanced diet so that I can go and get a balanced diet right now as we speak, so that I don't look malnourished. But yes, first of all, tell us, what constitutes a balanced diet?
Okay. First off, we'd have to know what a balanced diet is, to know, before we know what it actually constitutes or composes of. Okay, so when we talk about a balanced diet, it's basically all the essential nutrients in their correct proportion. And carbohydrates, proteins, fat and oils, vitamins, minerals, fiber, and water are basically the things that constitute a balanced diet.
Okay. And with that, how best can we know that, okay, I'm taking in too much of this, probably taking in too much of carbohydrates, taking in too much of protein, because too much of everything is bad, considerably. Yeah. How do we get to know that, okay, this is the amount of protein that I'm supposed to take, this is the amount of carbohydrates, this is the amount of water I'm supposed to take daily? How can I keep track on that? Because as stubborn as we are, that we can keep it that way. We know we are stubborn, but tell us how we can put that in place so that we don't find ourselves wanting at the end of the day.
Okay. So basically, also dietitians recommend we eat a rainbow diet. A rainbow diet in the sense that we eat a variety of food from the balanced diet. So at a season or at a meal season, you get your veggies, your fruits, your proteins, your carbohydrates, basically, or specifically the complex ones. So you're able to get nutrients from all these sources. And you should also be mindful of your portion control and what you're taking in. Yes.
Okay. And we are much more fond of snacks. You're late for work. Sometimes you're in a hurry to go somewhere. You don't have too much time to get the breakfast done or the lunch done or the dinner done, whatever it may be. But you just want to snack on something. Can you talk to us about some healthy snacks that could help us as far as nutrition is concerned?
Okay. So for a healthy snacks, you could go for your fruits, okay? So you would add some spice to it a bit. Okay, so then you can go for this plain yogurt or Greek yogurt. You add your mixed fruits to it, any fruit of your choice, then you're good to go. You could also go for your nuts, be it peanuts, almond nuts, cashew nuts. But no, they should be unsalted because some have sugars added. So you should go for the unsalted ones. So we have the roasted ones out there. So anytime you're snacking or you feel you're craving for something, just go for those healthier options I've mentioned.
Oh, and here we are. We thought biscuits were good. Are you going to recommend biscuits too as well? Because people snack on biscuits every single day.
We have, okay, so we have biscuits which are whole fibers.
Okay.
Okay, so you should be able to read and know what I'm going in for is low on salt, is low on sugar, high in fat. High in fat, also high in fiber. You should know what you're going in for. So if you are going in for biscuits, you should go for options which are high in fiber. So the oat biscuits, wheat biscuits, and what so on.
Okay. And from a dietitian point of view, what are some of the signs of unhealthy eating habits?
Okay, so there are lots of signs to show you are eating unhealthy. So firstly, I would make mention of frequent illness, okay? Because if you're not eating well, the essential nutrients to keep you moving is not in the system. So definitely you're going to fall sick frequently or most times, yes, because the body is not getting that energy it needs.
Okay.
And also low energy levels of fatigue, yes. If you're not eating, you would always have a feeling of being tired or you're always tired because the calories in the body isn't enough for the body to thrive. And also, if you're not eating well, there is impaired growth, especially among adolescents and children. And this situation is where we call the failure to thrive. Because if you're not eating well, your body needs or your organs need this nutrient to function properly. So if it's not getting all of that, there is an impaired growth or failure to thrive. And also there is slow healing. Yes, if you're not eating well, you get hurt. The body finds it difficult for your wounds to heal because is not the essential nutrients the body needs is not available.
Okay.
Such as vitamin C or proteins and what so on.
All right. Now, thank you so much for joining us. We'll come back to you, but I'm coming back to Doc in the studios.
Okay.
Doc, so we just got to hear from our dietitian as to what to eat and what not to eat. So, but moving forward, I mean, there are a lot of complications that come after even setting your timing and even knowing that, oh yes, I need to do this, I need to do that, I don't need to do this, I don't need to do that. What's the better plan for someone who's not really looking forward to slim down because the person is obese and not looking forward to put on weight because the person is slim, but just to live a healthy life? What would be that plan that you may be able to set aside so that the person can get that routine done every single day?
So I would start from what a dietitian basically suggested in terms of the rainbow meal that she was talking about and being intentional about that. However, it's really important that we all do some sort of self-assessment in looking at, our eating and our eating habits to really ensure that there aren't any other emotional issues, psychological issues that might impact our ability to be able to do what we need to do. And because if there are some emotional and psychological issues, basically it can affect our ability to do this and do this successfully.
And how important is professional help and in addressing, or treating eating disorders? How important is it? Because someone, we're seeing that, this is an eating disorder, but, let me let it pass. How important is it?
It's really important because, for anorexia, for example, you can actually die from it. So it's really important that once it becomes a disorder, you get the support that you need. And actually, at that point, it takes a team to really help you. There are actually even, opportunities for group therapies, the opportunities for even having like an inpatient kind of facility to do that, because it can be really difficult to stop on your own when it comes to eating disorders, because of it's not just like it's not just a behavior. It's actually also psychological, and it's also a body image distortion that also feeds into it too as well. And so at a certain level, you may need a whole team to help you come out of it.
And any misconceptions or myths that are around, eating disorders or eating healthy, for that matter, that you know of, that is in the system? People have any myths or any misconceptions about it?
I think not knowing how serious it can be. Really underplaying. Underplaying kind of how one can actually get there, and not really know that you can be there. I think right now there's a fad of like really exercising a lot and, eating healthy, and it's good if the motivations are good. But then it is possible that some of these, those who are exercising a lot and not eating necessarily very well, being malnourished, but they're not knowing, and then really experiencing some of the signs that she's talking about, the fatigue and all of that, not knowing that they are really heading, in that direction, and to be really conscious about how it's being done, and making sure that it's being done in a healthy manner, and being able to consult professionals like the dietitian, in terms of really going on a health journey.
Okay. Now, I want us to come back, just before I get into talk to Na again. You did mention about support from family and friends and all that. How do they come into play?
Yes. Sometimes some of these behaviors are also behaviors that are actually hidden, because of the shame that is also attached to it. So sometimes, for example, someone might be engaged in binge eating, and they may not necessarily, it's a secret, act that is basically performed. And so, being able to actually let your family come around to really support you is really important, because then they can check in on like how you're eating, what you're eating, and then really help you through that process.
And just to follow up, the force, or applying force, the force method. For instance, you're in a typical home where you're hiding these things, and maybe you are caught doing that. Now, that force of parenthood, or making sure that, hey, don't do it, don't do that, does it really work? Or would it work to an extent?
So if with that, we are only looking at stopping the behaviors, but then we are not really looking at doing anything else, which might be a problem. So then maybe they may stop when you are not with them, but then they go out, and then they can do whatever it is that they want. So that in itself can have an effect to a certain extent, but not to really fully address the issue.
Okay, back to you now. Are you on? Still with us?
Yes.
Okay. Quickly, tell us, how best can we manage cravings for unhealthy foods? Because we are all guilty, unless Doc does it was. We all can crave, for something that we know that, as for this one, sometimes a little cravings doesn't hurt too much. But when it becomes excessive, then it becomes, a problem. But how can we manage it? How best can we manage it from your point of view?
Okay, so first and very importantly, you should keep unhealthy snacks out of reach. Because obviously, if you go to your fridge or your cabinet, and all what you could see are unhealthy snacks, you will definitely snack on them. So you should replace those ones with a healthier alternative. So even when there is the craving, you go in for the healthier ones. And also, trying as much as possible to also keep a food diary or a journal of what you're taking in. Yes, so you are mindful and conscious of what you're taking in. And also, exercises help a lot, yes. Relating to your stress, you could sometimes take some walks, here and there. Because if your stress levels are high, going for walks, relaxing, sometimes helps to curb the cravings. So you should also take note of that. Yes. And also staying very hydrated. Yes. So let's say in the evening, let's say very late at night, you're craving for something and you have nothing to consume. Just going for 2 glasses of water and you're good to go. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Um, Personally, I get to talk to a lot of people, and when it comes to eating, especially eating outside, all right, some people prefer, they will be like, oh, you know what, for me, me pia, in the minimum, I no go do anything soup, nothing, you get me. But when I come home, oh yes, if you do anything, but me, I want that. How cautious should we be when we are going out, especially when we're traveling? As far as our diet is concerned, how cautious could we be?
Okay. Okay. So let's say when you are eating out at a restaurant, for instance, you could let the chef there or anybody that know of your dietary concerns if something could be done about it. If nothing could be done about it, you go in for the healthy alternative. So let's say you are going in for rice, you could ask for a lot of veggies to compensate for your fiber needs. Okay. And also traveling, when you're traveling and you get to a store or a place where you could get some snacks, there are healthier options. So you do need to make the right choice of what you are going in for. You could also pack in your snack or your food you would want to go along with in case where you're going, you are not going to get such healthier options available for you. Yes. So all this helps us to be very conscious of what we are consuming or taking in because this work is mostly individual. Yes, it's up to you to make up your mind that I'm not going to do this. Yes, you need to set those realistic goals for yourself. Yes.
There's one thing that we really miss out as individuals that has to do with food labels. We go out probably to the supermarket, we are taking in or we're buying in, you know, food ingredients here and there, but we just don't pay attention to the labels, what it contains, what is in there, and all that. Um, would it be something that we should be very cautious of, or we just feel like, oh, I'm taking in this and that's good for me at the end of the day?
Yes, we should be very, very conscious of our food labels, particularly if you know you have a condition, for example, diabetes, where you're not supposed to take certain, you're not supposed to take sugar. Okay, so you should be very, very conscious and note certain things on your food labels. Yes, so you should take note of your sugars, the fats and oils, the total fat, and the sugars, for example, there are ways to know there are sugars in there. So most sugars have a prefix of OSC. So we have fructose, sucrose, lactose. And with this prefix, you're able to know the sugar in there. You could find nectar, honey, and their nutrition labels, the nutrition content. You should be able to know the amount of total fat, the carbohydrates, taking note of the complex ones, which are the fibers, and also taking note of the main ingredients listing what you are taking in to know whether you are allergic to something or not. Yeah.
Okay, now, my last question before we wrap it up with you would be how important is meal timing when it comes to, you know, getting a good, healthy, you know, eating habit? Meal timing. Because I'm asking this because of our space in work, our spaces in work, and as individuals, what is taking us away from we just being positive about, hey, I'm going to eat at this specific time. You get me? Some people feel like, oh, breakfast should be, you know, 4 a.m. Some people feel that way. Others are of the view that breakfast is around 10 thereabout. Can you just give us a vivid meal timing for a healthy eating habit?
Okay, so our meal timings are very, very important because it helps us to develop hunger cues, which will help us to respond to those hunger cues, okay? So breakfast, for example, by 7 to 8, you need to take your breakfast, okay? And it's very, very important to take it during such time because if you are not taking your breakfast around this time line, around 10, 11, you will tend to eat a lot to compensate for you not taking your breakfast, which is very crucial in our healthy way of living. Yes. So you need to be so conscious of that. And our supper, for instance, by 5 p.m., you need to be done taking your last meal of the day. And if you crave for something, probably water or some healthy snacks will do.
All right, now, thank you so much for joining us and, giving us tidbits of how to live and eat healthy too as well. Thank you very, 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 very much. And we know we'll definitely get you back on when this topic arises again or anything that has to do with food for that matter. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. All right, so Doc, so now that we know that food labels are very, very important, I mean, going to the supermarket, knowing very well that you are picking in stuff that you're going to be taking in, they're very, very crucial. What exercises would you recommend as a psychologist when it's getting too bad, too bad?
So when you are getting to the point where you are basically engaging in eating habits that are not that are not good, and you're getting to getting into a disorder. I think that it's really important to really be aware of, okay, what might be causing this change, what might be causing you to basically compensate using food. And so that self-awareness exercises, like journaling, you can be journaling your thoughts, your feelings when it comes to eating. And so that could be one thing that you also do. And then you could also, another exercise that you could do, which is more psychological, is being able to bring more stress relief mechanisms into your life. So things that release your stress so that you don't depend on food as a way of basically depending on or releasing stress, because some people do that. Some people are stress eaters, and so
Wow.
So I'm feeling stressed, and then it's like let me get this chocolate, let me get whatever to soothe whatever stress you're feeling. But it could be something better, something healthier.
Okay. And apart from whatever has been said on the show today about eating healthy and, having a balanced diet and all that, and exercises and all that, but are there specific treatments that someone could undertake, to maintain these eating disorders? Are there any specific treatments?
I think there are, but once you seek professional help, they will lead you through the process.
Okay. And does it vary? I mean, based on the types of eating disorders that you gave. So, for instance, the ruminant one, you mentioned another one. I always get pica. And, yes.
Yeah.
Are there specific treatments for all of these?
Yeah. So they kind of differ depending on the type of eating disorder that you have. For some, you may not only need to see a psychologist, you may need to see a dietitian or a nutritionist, and you may need to see a medical doctor too as well.
Is it expensive?
I mean, for having to see all of these people, it's possible. But then I think because we have NHIS and all of those things, so you can see a doctor for affordable. You can see a dietitian at the hospital also for affordable. So there are psychologists too in some of these regional hospitals and all district hospitals. So it is possible to do it in an affordable way.
Okay, so then it's been rumored, and I put rumored in quotes and quotes, that healthy living or eating healthy is quite expensive. Yes, I like that. I like the It's quite expensive because so then should we keep that in mind? Because I think that would scare people away. That wouldn't want anybody to even spend their money at the end of the time. But is it affordable, or are there ways of having it being affordable? Is there a particular way to maneuver that?
I think actually when you compare it to the United States, here is.
So we're comparing Ghana to the United States.
I would want to do that because I have a little bit of experience in both. So there's a little bit of a difference, right?
Okay.
So when you have, like I always say this, like when you have just a little bit of money, okay, what you can get here tends to be healthier than what you can get in the United States, because what you can get in the United States when you don't have a lot of money is you can go to the 99-cent store and then go and get basically junk, junk food. You can go to one of these fast food places, and then you can just really easily get like a burger and all of those things, which are not necessarily healthy. But here, what are the options? Like you can even get like I mean, I know that now. Plantain is even expensive. The options are, you can get plantain, you can get wache, you can get kinky. You don't have a lot of money, but then the options are a little bit more nutritious than you will get there. So I think maybe we could compensate with a little bit, like in terms of thinking about it that way. That it's better.
It's better.
It's better.
Oh wow! Then go us. If it's better, then go us. Wow. It's been a pleasure having you. Getting us extensively towards that. But let me just paint this picture that someone out there feels attached to eating unhealthy. And the person knows, because I feel as a human being, if you know you are eating unhealthy, you would know.
Yes.
You get it. And would you recommend that it starts from the mindset? And how best can a person, overcome that personally before even seeking help at the end of the day?
Yeah, so I think the mindset part is really important because, some of these food and eating disorders, they really can become sort of like addiction-like, and so they're knowing that sometimes like we are really kind of heading there, and addictions can be really difficult to break. And so just knowing that you don't want to really start that journey where it can become really difficult. So I think that could be one of the things. Like, what are the consequences really of that kind of path that you start to walk on? And so then I think even that could try and help. Really.
All right, Doc. Thank you so much. And if anyone is out there who is feeling too bad or probably too shy to, come out of something of this sort, how best can we connect with you?
I'm a psychologist Ghana.
Okay.
On Instagram. So.
Okay. All right. So psychologist Ghana on Instagram. Please go and DM. Those of you who are watching who are eating basa basa. And those of you who are not also eating well, like myself. Doc, I'll be in your DM very soon. Yeah, because it's crucial, but we get it. Yes, thank you so much for joining us on the AM Club to discuss healthy and unhealthy habits when it comes to eating. Right. Okay, so that wraps it up for Lifestyle Daily right here on the show. Quick break. When we come back, we dive straight into the plug. We'll be right back.